Anfield is coming. After back-to-back wins for Mikel Arteta's Gunners, Arne Slot's reigning champions are next. In one of the biggest games of the season, today we'll get the breaking team news, find out how Mikel Arteta will tactically line up, as well as discussing a potential debut for Eberechi Eze. We'll reveal Andrea Berta's master plan to secure the transfer of Piero Hincapie. Yo, what is going on guys? My name is Baz14, welcome back to your boys channel and I hope you guys are doing sensational. As Arsenal approach a gargantuan game at Anfield, let's just say we have a lot to break down. So as per, smash a like on this video if you do enjoy it and subscribe to the channel if you are new, helping your boy on his road to 300,000 subscribers. But starting off with Arsenal's Anfield agenda, a trip to Anfield and last year's champions, one of only 3 teams inside the Premier League alongside Tottenham and Arsenal to have a 100% win record. A game between first and third. Let's just say our opponents have made a very intriguing start to the season, following the record arrival of Florian Wirtz, as well as a big money move for Hincapie on the opening day of the season, beating Bournemouth 4-2, but in a game that they were 2-0 up, only for Bournemouth to make it 2-2. As the XG from that game showed, Liverpool may have had 2.21, but Bournemouth also had 1.70. Why that is so important is because the following game, this time a trip to St James's Park, in a game that was all about Alexander Isak, once again Liverpool went 2-0 up, Newcastle down to 10 men, yet Newcastle were able to bring it back to 2-2. In a game with Newcastle an XG of 1.42 and Liverpool only 0.66, it was a game that they won, but as shown here, 61% of Liverpool's XG that evening came from Nguma's winning strike. The main point of interest to Mikel Arteta is going to be very clear, for as great as Liverpool are going forwards, something they were just as good last season, defensively they have shown vulnerabilities. From a brand new fullback pairing of Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez, to even a very poor start to the season for Ibrahima Konate. When you then think about Arsenal scoring 5 goals against Leeds United, having not conceded a single goal so far this season, not only is confidence high, but the profiles are there to go and cause chaos. But in terms of the Arsenal team news, one player that won't be available is German forward Kai Havertz. As confirmed by David Ornstein, Kai Havertz has undergone surgery after the decision was made as the best course of action for his knee issue, but the surgery is not a major procedure. The hope expectation is the German international is not set to miss a lengthy period before making an Arsenal return. With even Alex Howell reporting, the hope is that Kai Havertz's recovery will be weeks rather than months, which tactically is a blow for Mikel Arteta, with the idea of Havertz either starting or coming off the bench. He is not the same level of goal threat as Victor Gyökeres, but when it comes to leading the Arsenal press, ensuring that we have the best defensive shape going forwards, there's a reason why Arteta has turned to Havertz in the past. But also in terms of star with Bukayo Saka, another player set to miss this game as well, as confirmed by Charles Watts, there is certainly hope that Bukayo Saka will be close to a return, which will be a big boost considering that Arsenal face Manchester City the following weekend. But no Bukayo Saka going to Anfield in previous years, imagine the meltdown from Arsenal fans. Arsenal have no chance, what's the point of even going there? But in 2025 things are slightly different. After Arsenal spent over £50 million on Noni Madueke this summer for a signing that was heavily ridiculed, it was a signing made for this exact moment. Another natural right forward able to cut inside on his left foot, up against brand new Liverpool left back Milos Kerkez, a player that struggled massively on opening day against Bournemouth. Then likewise against Newcastle, Madueke is a player that has a very good history against Kerkez, a tricky wide forward with fantastic innovation. For his Arsenal career having mainly played on the left hand side, think about after Bukayo Saka's injury against Leeds. The moment Madueke went to the right hand side, you could see a wide forward looking so much more natural and so much more dangerous. Noni Madueke is not Bukayo Saka, but in terms of having a backup wide forward, this game is going to be very important in terms of the squad depth. But what's going to be even more intriguing is the battle on the left hand side, where Arsenal have of course Ricardo Calafiori, as shown by this graphic here, of the Premier League's top 10 XG creators so far. Number 1 of course is Antoine Semenyo, with Victor Gyökeres at number 5, but it's also a list that has Ricardo Calafiori just slightly behind Hugo Ekitike, after a goal on opening day against Manchester United, then 2 assists versus Leeds. We're talking about Ricardo Calafiori in a brand new role, with Mikel Arteta changing the way he uses his left backs. Forget about simply inverting, Calafiori is now given far more freedom to roam the left hand side and see where the game fits him most, from holding the width at certain times against Leeds, to even ending up as a centre forward. The role of our left wing has become far more simple, because all you have to do is go wherever Calafiori isn't. So against a Liverpool side that have Jeremy Frimpong, but also Dominic Szoboszlai, who started as their right back against Newcastle. Not only do Arsenal have a very potent left back, but you also have potentially a brand new left forward, with this being potentially the first ever game for Eberechi Eze, all set to make his Arsenal debut at Anfield, for a player that was in full Arsenal training alongside Declan Rice. For a player that Arsenal fans may see as a number 10, and with all the doubts over Martin Odegaard, he most certainly could play there, but he's more a player that comes alive on the left hand side. The prime example being his last 3 appearances at Anfield, from dropping a 7.1 rating last season, playing as left-sided number 10, 3 out of 4 dribbles, 1 key pass and 1 big chance created, to to an 8.2 rating in 2024, scoring the only goal of the game, an expected assist of 0.75, 3 successful dribbles, 3 key passes, 3 crosses, 3 long balls and 1 win chance created, to even dropping a 7.4 rating in his previous appearance in 2022, with 1 assist, 1 key pass and 1 big chance created, as well as 7 out of 8 dribbles. The key behind all those performances, they all came mainly off that left hand side. So in a game when the Arsenal attack is going to come under major focus, we could see a start for Eberechi Eze, but you also have the potential of Gabriel Martinelli. After starting the opening day against Manchester United as a left winger, but left on the bench against Leeds, not playing a single minute off the bench, a player that many Arsenal fans have been very critical of, but also has a very decent record at Anfield, from scoring a goal last season as Arsenal drew 2-2, to even scoring the winning goal back in 2023-24. Martinelli is a player that at Anfield and against Liverpool seems to always come alive. So when you've got no Bukayo Saka and no Kai Havertz, for all the excitement around Eberechi Eze, is he going to go for a more tried and trusted player instead? A player for all his critics is still a hard worker off the ball and give Arsenal a lot of security. My friends, talk to me down below in the comments. What would be your Arsenal lineup going into this massive game at Anfield? But now a word from today's sponsor, Betmate. Back again with another free-to-play pot up for grabs, where you're not against the bookies but against real football fans. It's fantasy football but with a chance to win actual money. There was actually a pot for Man United, and as you can see, your boy came 5th and number 1 walked away with £35. Now there's another pot live for Liverpool. And it's very simple to join. All you gotta do is download Betmate for the link in my description or scan the QR code on screen. Once you've signed up, as you can see, you get to the home screen and on the top right hand side you see that search bar, you click that and you put in the code BABS14-03 and you're inside the pot. Now it's time to pick the team, and of course you got 7 players in the starting lineup where you can pick only 6 from each team. Goalkeeping wise is a hard battle. Alisson of course got 1 point last week and Raya got 6 by keeping a clean sheet. The fact that Arsenal have kept clean sheets, I think I'm going to go for Raya. It's a simple one there. Defenders wise, Timber and Calafrio both scoring massive points last week, 21 and 12. I think, you know what, fullbacks for Arsenal, they're getting goals, they're getting assists. I'm going to go for both of them there. Midfield wise, of course, Declan Rice you've got there, who's great at corners. Gravenberch back off the fantastic goals. Ruben Mendes first start against Liverpool as well, and of course the team could have gone to. I'm going to go for Rice because he's on the set pieces, he can get an assist, and alongside him I think Florian Wirtz is a very safe option as well. Up front, of course, Victor Gyökeres last week scoring 12 points from he gets into the team straight away. And next to him, as much as I don't want to see him score against Arsenal, Mo Salah has a very good record against us, so I think it's a very safe bet here to put him into this team. On my bench, I've gone from Alisson, Gabriel, Szoboszlai, Hincapie, and just love that my team is done, I can save it, and I've entered the £100 free-to-play pot. So if you want to get involved this week and compete against your boy in this fantasy league, download Betmate for the link in my description or scan the QR code on screen right now. The pot, of course, is completely free to play. Let's see if you man can surprise your boy and win some money. Now let's talk about Arsenal in the Champions League. After the official draw of the 2025 league phase campaign, here was former Arsenal forward Theo Walcott as the official Arsenal representative. The draw itself giving Arsenal some very intriguing fixtures. The first being Bayern Munich at the Emirates Stadium, followed by Inter Milan away and Atletico Madrid at home, then Club Brugge, Olympiacos, Slavia Prague, Kairat Almaty and Athletic Bilbao, with this being the reaction of the Kairat's players as they found out they were playing Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. The main excitement will be, of course, those first 2 games. Bayern Munich at home, Inter Milan away. 2 of the best sides in the Champions League with so much quality, with Arsenal having played Inter last year in the league phase, but losing 1-0 at the San Siro. Even Bayern Munich, a team that Arsenal will be looking to get revenge of, having knocked us out in 2023-24. This will be a great test to see how far Arsenal have come. Do we now have the Mavericks on our team to go and cause problems? As 2 former Crystal Palace players go head to head, Michael Olise versus Eberechi Eze. It's also going to be very important to see how Mikel Arteta uses his Arsenal squad. Having made 7 different signings this window, not only is the Arsenal squad significantly stronger, but the options that we have off the bench now could of course be started in some of those Champions League games. So after Arsenal also drew Port Vale away in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup, another chance to see how Mikel Arteta will rotate the Arsenal squad, we cannot talk about the Carabao Cup without mentioning Manchester United. Knocked out by League 2 Grimsby, with even the goalkeeper over the winning team saying, I'm half fuming because I'm a Man United fan, but no, seriously, this is what football is all about. In a game that puts on even more pressure for Ruben Amorim, having failed to win the opening 2 games of the season, one of course being a defeat to Arsenal. Fulham and Arsenal was never going to be easy, but Grimsby in League 2, beating them on penalties. In a game there were also 2 goals up. For United fans, they're in a very weird place right now, trying to see if Amorim's worth trusting the process with. The main example being used being Mikel Arteta, having seen his transformation at Arsenal, starting off in 8th place, to now fighting for titles. In my eyes, I think Mikel Arteta has confused a lot of fans across the world football. The idea that every single young coach deserves time because they have the ability to turn their teams around. As perfectly summarised by this tweet here, welcome to the Mikel Arteta built a club so it can't be that hard. Penitentiary Ruben Amorim. But I also want to give a mention to a former Arsenal target in Benjamin Sesko, in a game that was his first ever Manchester United start. Not scoring against a League 2 side is one thing, but being the 9th and last outfield player to take a penalty is something unheard of for a striker. That's what you bring it back to Arsenal and think of why we went for Victor Gyökeres. Šeško is a player that has so many great physical fundamentals. 6'5" with a fantastic leap, all the technical ability to be a very good striker, but the main thing you have to focus on is the mentality, where Victor Gyökeres has an unerring amount of self-belief. From the way that he scored that goal against Leeds, to even the way that he took that penalty, paroling behind Declan Rice waiting for that ball, because even after opening his Premier League accounts, he wanted the responsibility to pick up that ball and smash it into the back of the net. The same cannot be said for Benjamin Šeško, a player that wasn't even sure to come to Arsenal last season because of the fear that he could not take over from Kai Havertz. But in the case of Victor Gyökeres coming to the Emirates Stadium taking the number 14, providing Arsenal the mentality that we were looking for. As reports now confirm, Gyökeres is doing extra training sessions at London Colney, with the hope of getting to full fitness as soon as possible after missing a large chunk of pre-season. Moving on to Andrea Berta's transfer plans. With transfer deadline day getting closer and closer, Andrea Berta has a very few busy days lined up, with the main focus being the future of Jakub Kiwior and the transfer pursuits of Piero Hincapie. In the case of Kiwior, despite reports from Matteo Moretto that AC Milan are working on two different centre-backs, Manuel Akanji and Jakub Kiwior, having made recent contacts for both players, this is a player that prefers to go to Porto instead. As confirmed by Jordan Davies, Porto have agreed a deal with Arsenal for Jakub Kiwior on a lower the obligation to buy for around £22.5 million, but only to be financed if Arsenal can sign Piero Hincapie before the deadline day on Monday. That is going to be the most important thing. Andrea Berta will only let Kiwior go if Arsenal can get their man first. As confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal are now in direct talks with Bayer Leverkusen for Piero Hincapie. After personal terms were agreed, the preference for Arsenal is a loan with the obligation, as the deal now depends on a structure to be approved or not by Leverkusen. If Hincapie deal can be agreed, then Kiwior can go to Porto. Andrea Berta's plan is very clear. As revealed by the Hand of Arsenal, Berta has set an internal deadline to reach a conclusion with Leverkusen for Hincapie. He does not want talks to drag into deadline day, leaving Arsenal scrambling for a replacement for Kiwior, with one source even suggesting 48 hours. Sources with knowledge suggest that there is a secret verbal pact between Hincapie and senior members at the club, where he could leave for below his release clause of €60 million. Andrea Berta, who is well informed on such intel, is aiming to negotiate a package around €50 million or slightly less. Talks ongoing between the clubs to reach a conclusion. A loan plus obligation is the preference for both clubs to record the transition on next year's financial records, but different formulas are being discussed. It's important to note that Hincapie rejected other clubs once Andrea Berta made contact, ultimately forcing Leverkusen to sell to Arsenal only. Although he has not been a long-term target for Arsenal, Berta has kept excellent relationships with his camp from his days at Atletico Madrid, which made it very easy to reject Spurs. Then the dominoes started to fall. After Fabrizio Romano gave us a Jakub Kiwior here we go, a deal agreed with Arsenal on a loan with the obligation to buy, a €2 million loan fee with a €17 million obligation to buy plus add-ons and sell-on clauses, up to a potential fee of over €25 to €27 million. Kiwior is scheduled to fire in the next 24 hours as soon as documents are approved, becoming Porto's second most expensive ever signing. For many Arsenal fans and Mikel Arteta, we only have to show appreciation for a centre-back that turned up last year in a time of need. No Gabriel Magalhaes going to the Bernabeu. With Jakub Kiwior, that was no problem. Signing for Arsenal in January 2023, Kiwior was never a starter, but were never called upon reliable. But with Arsenal trying to upgrade in the pursuit of Piero Hincapie, we've got Fabrizio Romano bumper, confirming that Arsenal are closing into the Piero Hincapie deal with a here we go soon. Agreement almost done with Leverkusen, who accept the loan with obligation to buy, a formula that Arsenal wanted. Details on the fee structure still being sorted, and then the here we go is coming. A deal that is almost all but done. Piero Hincapie looks set to arrive at the Emirates Stadium, becoming Arsenal's 8th signing of the window. As confirmed by Team News and Ticks, Arsenal are very close on a full agreement with Bayer Leverkusen for Piero Hincapie. It should be imminent, and I'm told that Andrea Berta deserves full credit for this one. In what was a major window for Arsenal's brand new sporting director, to have secured 7 signings was amazing in the first place, but as shown by this graphic here, Arsenal are getting a major upgrade on Jakub Kiwior. In the same window, they already secured Christian Mosquera. Having this quality of Arsenal defenders that can come off the bench, we have players that will be starting for other clubs, but at Arsenal there's major competition. But what do you guys make of the Hincapie deal? Is this a good signing for Arsenal? And do you think he can become a starter? But Andrea Berta also focused on departures. What about the future of Reece Nelson? A player that was reportedly chased by Fulham all summer, having spent last year on loan at Craven Cottage. And here he was alongside Fulham centre-back Calvin Bassey, spotted on the player's official Snapchats. But in terms of a move leaving Arsenal, but it looks like Reece is actually going elsewhere. As reported by Daniel Katz, Reece Nelson is in talks to join Crystal Palace, a £50 million fee, and it gets the wingers large wages off the books too. The Eze deal was smooth, so there shouldn't be an issue if that was anything to go by. As already confirmed by the reliable Hand of Arsenal, the likes of Steve Parish and Arsenal have a fantastic relationship, with the way that we were able to get the Eze deal done out of nowhere, hijacking Spurs because Palace preferred Arsenal. This looks like a deal that is getting closer and closer as we approach deadline day, and to get a fee of £15 million, I actually am very happy for Reece to go to Palace, because it's a club that I think suits him very nicely, under a direct coach like Oliver Glasner. having seen his work alongside Eberici Eze and Michael Olise. Reece Nelson to Crystal Palace is getting closer and closer. But in terms of Arsenal and their own potential forward signings, with the arrivals of Eze, Gyökeres and Madueke, 3 forwards may have already arrived. But in the case of other targets like Rodrigo Goes, as now confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, Rodrigo Goes will be staying at Real Madrid and not be moving to the Premier League this summer. Many people spoke this summer about Liverpool and Arsenal, but it was never close and never concrete. He is happy to stay at Madrid and fight for the titles. For a guy that has only started one of Real Madrid's last 8 games, staying there is of course his personal choice, but after being left out of the recent Brazil spot, a squad that even included Gabriel Martinelli, I wonder if going into January or even the summer, Rodrigo finally starts to realise that the best thing for his future will be to get a move elsewhere. But in terms of Arsenal's other forward targets, in terms of Lyon's Malik Fofana, according to Sanchez Valeri, the player has decided to stay this season. Having made our 3 forward signings and spent so much money, it looks like Arsenal are happy with what they've done and they're waiting for key players to return. With the likes of Kai Havertz and Bukayo Saka both currently out injured, you also can't forget about Gabriel Jesus, who according to George Nicola, a move for Gabriel Jesus to Palmeiras is currently far-fetched, as the player himself prefers to continue in Europe. His return to Arsenal is being managed with patience and care, as he's only expected to make a full return to the pitch in October. With Andrea Berto also closing into other departures, as a David Ornstein exclusive confirms, Olympique Marseille are working on a deal to sign Alexander Zinchenko from Arsenal. They are exploring a permanent move, but it's complicated by his salary, significant issue plus solution needed for a deal to advance. The talks are ongoing. Even in the case of Fabio Vieira, as confirmed by the hand of Arsenal, newfound optimism regarding the exit of Fabio Vieira Stuttgart are firmly at the queue with 3 other European clubs lurking. But approaching transfer deadline day, Arsenal having already made 7 different signings, a potential number 8 in Piero Hincapie, we could be about to see a massive move from one of our rivals. After Fabrizio Romano confirmed the breaking news that Newcastle had secured the deal for Nick Walter-Made, a fee over 80 million euros, with a medical in England in the next 24 hours, securing a big name striker for a massive amount of money. All eyes of course turn to the future of Alexander Isak, who has now confirmed by Fabrizio Romano Liverpool are ready to go all in and bid again for Alexander Isak, as the player's stance has never changed. Isak only wants Liverpool, and if Newcastle decide to open the doors after Walter-Made, then Liverpool will be ready. Reports of a £130 million offer in the works after already signing Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike. The idea of Isak going to Liverpool of course is scary, but also the mood is definitely changing. After a window where Arsenal had got Victor Gyökeres, it feels like the Arsenal fans have finally started to believe this transfer window may have been the one, where Arsenal made their massive signings and paid the massive money, and they most certainly were not messing about. With the question then becoming, do we have the quality to go and win a Premier League title? Well, according to Premier League legend Alan Shearer, he is seriously impressed by Arsenal's squad depth this season, saying, yeah, but I was thinking, goodness me, look at the players they've brought on. They've brought on Trossard, I forgot about him. Then you've got Eze to come and Martinelli. I mean, the numbers they've got are really incredible now. The squad that Arsenal have got, they have to go on and win something pretty big this season, because they've made a good start. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of the social medias, and the links are down below in the description. But that was all of your latest Arsenal news today ahead of a massive gargantuan game at Anfield. It's not going to be Eze, but one thing I will say is we have the quality to go there and create a statement. So my friends, it's going to be intriguing, it'll be a battle, and I'll see you next time. Take care, and a bit.